Hello, BookTube, and welcome to another weekly reading vlog. First, a quick life update. Last week, I was talking about how I was stuck at home with self-isolation with COVID. I completed the mandatory 7 days self-isolation required by my employer. I took one of these rapid tests, this one here, and ended up testing negative. So was allowed to come back to work, which was good because I was getting cabin fever from just staying at home for those 7 days. Um, and I think I'm over it. I don't know. It was never really that much of a severe case to begin with, but I do have a little bit of a lingering cough, and sometimes I feel like I've got a lingering fog in the brain, although it's a bit hard to tell because sometimes even under the best of circumstances, I feel like my brain's a bit foggy. I don't know. People I know who've had COVID have been saying like it took them weeks or months to feel like they were back to normal. I tend to be a hypochondriac anyways, so I'm one of those people who's like, am I just a little bit sleepy this morning, or is it long COVID? Will I ever get my brain back to normal? That kind of hypochondriac thinking makes it a little bit difficult to tell if I'm being paranoid, if I actually am. The brain is running a little bit slower than usual. I think the brain's been running a little bit slower than usual. It's felt like a bit of a rough week. I don't know. But anyways, the books this week. One moment. Been working on these 7 books here. So, yeah. I don't know what I'm doing with these books. I'm not reading enough to justify having this many books on the go. This is just something that happened to me through lack of self-discipline and self-control, starting books before I had finished the ones I was currently working on. As well as a lot of these books I started back before we had the second baby, and back during the COVID lockdown when I was stuck at home all the time, which made it easier to pick up some of these big books. Now that I'm back at work at normal, kind of, I can't really be carrying all these big, heavy books around with me everywhere I go. I haven't really gotten that much reading done at home, especially since the second baby. So, yeah, I'm trying to kind of, I'm reluctant to abandon any of these books. What's the booktube lingo for that again? DNF. Yeah, DNF. See, is that long COVID, or is that the brain just being a little bit tired today? I'm reluctant to DNF these books, but it's all of them. I've really only done a few pages from each of them, and it also makes doing these weekly reading vlogs a little bit difficult because I have to remember what I read from each different book, and by the time you're up to 6 or 7 books, sometimes it gets a little bit difficult before filming. All of that is a long way of saying apologies in advance for this week. I'm just gonna try and go through these quickly, and I'm not gonna say a lot about any of them. So the Iliad I actually finished last week. So because I finished it, I've not done any new pages on this, although I've been reviewing it by listening to the audiobook on YouTube. The translation I have here is Samuel Butler, so to avoid confusing myself, I've been listening to the Samuel Butler translation on YouTube. It's in the public domain. This translation is from 1898, I believe. So, the LibriVox recordings, which are available at the LibriVox website, but also available on YouTube. Yeah, so, sorry. Anyways, been listening to the audiobook this past week. Now that I think I'm past COVID, I'm going to try and film a review of this, maybe sometime this week. But yeah, still have that one. Still been listening to that one, and the review will be forthcoming. Wayfarer Redemption read 22 pages this week. I don't really have a lot of interesting things to say from those 22 pages I read. Herodotus, I just read 2 pages this week. I thought I had read more, but I was just looking at my page counts right before I filmed this videos, and yeah, I only read 2 pages. Leviticus. I actually did 6 pages, which was, what was that? Leviticus 5, I believe. Sorry, I've got this with page counts instead of chapters. No, not Leviticus 5. I was Leviticus 8 up through Leviticus 13. So the good news is that Leviticus is getting slightly more interesting. I'm past the parts now where it's describing the sacrifices. The parts when it was describing how the meat was supposed to be burned on the altar, bored me to death. I'm not sure if there's going to be more sacrifices coming up later in Leviticus. Yeah, it looks like there might be, but I'm past it for now. And I'm into the dietary laws and the rules about being clean and unclean, which is slightly more interesting. I mean, it's all a little bit silly, this whole clean and unclean thing, and the clean and unclean animals. But it's also interesting just seeing what the societal taboos are. For example, purification of a woman after childbirth. So if a woman gives birth to a girl, she is unclean for 2 weeks after giving birth. But if she gives birth to a boy, she has to wait for the 8th day for the boy to be circumcised, and then must wait another 33 days for her blood to be purified. Oh, right, yeah, okay. 8th day for the boy, then 33 days for the blood to be purified. If it's a girl, she's unclean for 2 weeks, and then she must wait another 66 days for the blood to be purified. So, yeah, I mean, why is it different for a boy or for a girl? I suspect just, the sexism inherent in ancient times, which is now preserved in the Bible. But, it doesn't give a reason here. I suppose the traditional Christian explanation would just be because God said so. I don't know. But, those kind of things make the laws, reading about the laws of cleanliness and uncleanliness, more interesting than reading about how the sacrifices were to be conducted. All right, Glinda of Oz, the last book here in this Complete Stories of Oz series. I read 6 pages. Yeah, not much. It's interesting in that they've assembled all of Ozma's counselors here, which is a who's who of a whole bunch of characters from previous books, including some characters that I thought L. Frank Baum had forgotten about, like Professor Wogglebug. We haven't seen him for several stories. And then that frog character. What was the name of the frog character? Yeah, the Frogman from the Yip County. I thought he was just going to be a one-off character, but yeah, L. Frank Baum has brought him back. Uh, Ojo, the Lucky, the Shaggy Man, Button Bright, Trot and Betsy, Doctor, the Glass Cat. So I mean, a whole bunch of characters from the previous books have been brought back to go out on the expedition to find Ozma. So it was just neat seeing all those characters reassemble again. But yeah, just 6 pages here. Then for professional development, I just read 2 pages in the grammar book, finishing up the chapter on reference and possession into the teaching suggestions. And the teaching reading skills in a foreign language. I read 18 pages on all from chapter 6, which is talking about how we read to make sense of stuff and how we tackle complex sentences. Yeah, I think some of this was useful, not particularly interesting. Yeah, and that's my reading for this week. Sorry I didn't have anything intelligent to say about it. Yeah, I think in addition to maybe lingering COVID brain or whatever, I just have too many things, too many books I'm reading, and it's just difficult to gather my thoughts on it. And then graphic novels. I reviewed a couple of Tintin books earlier this week. I'll leave links in the descriptions down below to the ones I reviewed. Working now on Tintin and the Seven Crystal Balls. Now this, I've had to skip 3 books. This was the previous one I read. These 3 were not in the library. These 2 seem to have been lost. This one was checked out. So I've skipped over here. So I am beginning to skip around a bit now in continuity. And there are some interesting changes I'm noticing here. And then this just got delivered to the library. Courtesy of myself. Actually, I requested this to the library. I've been requesting a lot of graphic novels to get the students reading more in English. And this is Carl Barks, Donald Duck Balloonatics, published by Fantagraphics. So I've actually finished the comic book portion of this, but there's a commentary in the back, and I haven't finished reading that yet. So as soon as if you're gonna do it, you might as well do it thoroughly, huh? So as soon as I finish reading the commentary in the back, then I'll make a video reviewing this. And that's all for this week. Sorry.